you guys, crazy times. There is no great way to start this video because there's really like no words anyone can say to describe what is going on in the world right now. And I want to be clear, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a mental health professional, I'm actually just like barely a professional. So I don't have like professional wisdom to share on this front, but what I can tell you is, what I can say is these are stressful times. And really what I wanted to do is just sit down and talk about my experience. I have been I was stressed before this, to be honest, and not just casually stressed. Like I did an entire video about my going back to therapy. So I do cognitive behavioral therapy. Thankfully, my therapist is now doing that virtually, which is amazing. It means I can still do it, but I've really struggled. I've struggled with this year since before this with like a lack of control. It seems like there's a lot of stuff I can't do anything about. And this really amplifies that in some pretty big ways. So anyway, I sat down, I wrote down 4 tips that I use personally that have helped me just feel a little bit calmer. Obviously, I'm still gonna be stressed, so will you, but I did want to share these 4 tips on, during this pandemic, how to take the stress down just a notch. Okay, like I said, before we get started, I'm not a professional. These are my personal tips. That's all I got for you. Nothing professional here to say. The other piece is I want to make sure that I'm very clear how thankful I am for anybody that works in healthcare who is stocking the shelves at my grocery stores. Like I see you, I'm thankful for you. I get emotional thinking about you. My family gets to work from home. We're very privileged and blessed that way. All of my work is online and can be done from anywhere, and my husband as well is able to work from home. So we're just very thankful and very grateful. And let's get into 4 tips for how to be a little more calm. Okay, so here's the thing. I think one of the reasons why this is, don't get me wrong, it's stressful in general to know that a pandemic is happening, but also when you look at the numbers, there's this really interesting website, I'll leave the link for it here, but there's an interesting website that puts in graphs a bunch of numbers, and some of the numbers around how many times COVID-19 is mentioned in the media, it soars beyond the mention of swine flu, Ebola, SARS. Like it's insane the amount of coverage this has had on the media. So honestly, tip number 1, you have to turn off the news. And that was something that my counselor told me, and I was like, how will I know what's happening? How am I gonna stay informed? We've kind of come up with a plan. So like I check the news once in the morning and once midday. That's pretty much all I need to know. I check reputable sources only. So that's WHO, CDC, my local public health departments like the SF public health department. There's actually a webpage that they have that shows the number of cases per day, so I can keep up with the number of local cases here to me. It's really scary for me to look at these big global numbers of thousands upon thousands of cases when really locally it is much smaller than that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to deny the data, it's out there. But here's the thing, I'm not one of those people that needs to be scared by data because I'm already scared. You know what I mean? I already take it seriously. We've been quarantined for over a week now. We were social distancing before that, so we in our family have taken it seriously. So if you're somebody that already knows that this is a really big deal, you probably don't need the constant news reminders that it's a really big deal. I've deleted Twitter. I don't go on Reddit. Reddit is the biggest place to spiral down. It kind of looks like it's more factual than Twitter, but the thing is it's kind of just like Twitter. It's people posting articles and their opinions, and I can't do that. So my recommendation to you guys, put away the social media. Limit it, set screen time limits on your phone if you need to, and trust me, when you are on social media, it makes you feel like you are everywhere. It makes you feel like you're over here where the cases are exploding and over here by someone's bedside, and this stuff really aches at you and it weighs really heavy. So it's a lot easier to just put that down for a bit. Check, be informed, be aware, but the reality is that like I can't be consuming that way, and it's made me feel a lot better to have specific amounts of time where I'm allowed to consume news about this and stay informed, but also I need to have time where I cut it off. So I have screen limits after 3 p.m. It blocks social media, it blocks the internet, it blocks all that stuff. And if I'm going to choose to get on Instagram or any of those other platforms, I have to like acknowledge like, okay, give me another minute, give me 15 minutes, or ignore my limit for the day. Just as like a nice friendly reminder to myself to turn it off. Consume what you need, you gotta put away the rest. It's not healthy to consume. Okay, the other thing I wanna talk about is journaling. I used to write like crazy. It's actually how I kind of got into blogging. I was journaling way before blogging. I had journals when I was in like the 4th grade. It was this cute little like black striped diary. I called her Annie after Anne Frank. It's my favorite book when I was a kid. Very impactful, very empowering, and it was like a 13-year-old writing in a diary. So journaling has been a part of my life for a long time, but I've stopped. And I've stopped because it's one of those things that it feels uncomfortable, it feels awkward. Most of us don't handwrite anymore, we type everything. And then on top of that, I think I was a little bit worried that if I started journaling, stuff would come out that I wasn't ready to deal with. But again, the counselor was like, you gotta pick up the journaling because intellectual people. But no, really, she said people that are like into cognitive behavioral therapy and in their head a lot would really like journaling because it's a very like intellectual way to break down what's in your head. You're kind of like deconstructing that on paper. Am I gonna sneeze? No. So anyway, I picked up a journal literally a week before San Francisco's shelter in place took effect, and the timing was like serendipitous. I didn't yet know that this was all gonna blow up. I was picking up the journal for my own stressors in my own life, and now I joke it's my quarantine diary, so I'm trying to write in it 1 time per day. And I've actually gone back and reread like March 11th and March 12th were really when stuff hit the fan, man. That was like around the time like the NBA shut down, a bunch of players tested positive, Tom Hanks tested positive, like things got real very quickly. And honestly, like when I met with my counselor again last week, she said it would be very interesting when this is all over, like that's gonna be a journal that you want to read later, because there will be a time, I know it doesn't feel that way, but there will be a time when this is over and we'll never be back to normal, but we'll have some sense of normalcy again. And it'll be really interesting to have a snapshot of what I was feeling during that time. So I can't recommend journaling enough. I actually ordered a backup journal on Rifle Paper Co. because I'm already burning through my quarantine diary faster than I anticipated, but it's been really, really helpful. Highly recommend. Okay, number 3. Practice grounding. If you don't know what grounding is, it essentially is, again, I'm not a therapist or a mental health professional, but the way I understand it is a lot of the time we're kind of like, our minds are all over the place, all over here, worry here, concern here. But the thing is that where you physically are at this time is actually a really good reminder of how safe you are. So for example, I might be here stressing out about something, but if I'm able to acknowledge like, okay, I'm in my room, it's quiet, it's warm, it's safe, like that's a way for me to ground to this environment where it's actually much less stressful. So grounding helps bring you back into that moment. So again, I think if you're in that spiral of Twitter or the news and it's starting to make you feel really anxious, taking that moment to yourself and saying like, okay, let me put the phone down and where am I? And all the counselors I've talked to and all the articles I've read recommend almost like saying out loud the things around you. So like scrunchie, desk, picture frame, wall, notebook, like these are things that help bring you back to the present moment and remind you that where you are right now, like that's okay. It's really hard not to worry about what's happening everywhere else, but if you need to have that moment to bring yourself back, grounding is a really good exercise to do so. Okay, and the last thing I want to say, which this thought has helped me a ton. It sounds really cliche, but you're really not alone in this. I'm not alone in this. You're not alone in this. We're all not alone in this. So there's 7.8 billion people on this planet, give or take, right? And the thing is that this pandemic is a global problem. So I know sometimes with our stresses, and especially some of the stuff that I've dealt with this year, it feels very isolating and very alone. Like, why is this happening to me? Why me? What did I do? What is the world trying to tell me? But the thing is that with 7.8 billion plus people experiencing this global issue, it's not just you, and it didn't just happen to you. And I know it's kind of like a joke, misery loves company, but that thought has really helped me that I'm not alone in this, right? We're all going through this. So if I'm scared, you're scared. You shouldn't be scared. There's some people out there that seem not scared enough, but we'll not open that can of worms. Point being, that thought that like you're truly not alone in it, there's billions, literally billions of other people that also are dealing with this fear and this stress, that within itself can be very comforting. So just know that, like, reach out to a friend, reach out to a neighbor digitally and just check on how everyone's doing, because really, like, if you're feeling it, I'll make you bet all your friend group and family are also feeling it too, because it affects every single person. Okay, that's it for my 4 little tips and tricks. I gotta be honest, I'm still stressed through it. These are not one and done type thought processes or things to do. This is stuff that I have to practice daily to, stay grounded and stay okay. I have good days, I have bad days. If you need me, you can find me on Instagram. Reach out, tell me how you're doing in the comments down below. I'm trying to do some giveaways and stuff like that to keep it positive. And this is the only video I will do specifically on the pandemic and COVID-19. I do have a blog post up with my thoughts about some of the like more nitty-gritty stuff. But otherwise, you know, I'll do some what I eat in a day and some makeup reviews, and I'll keep it light and entertaining for you guys from here on out. Anywhoozin, give this video a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, join my family, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.